Warm greetings, everyone. On behalf of W4W Foundation, a think tank instituted as Citizens Collective, we welcome you to another session of Wednesdays for Water. The conversation today is on nature-based solutions, and it's part of the series. And today's session is titled as Harnessing Nature Through Nature-Based Solutions in Securing Our Ecological Future. Before we get into the session, a quick overview of what is Wednesdays for Water and what we do here. The objective of Wednesdays for Water is to engage in conversation with water experts, grassroots practitioners, policymakers, and youth to explore the complex intertwined issues associated with water and the possible solutions. We have expanded the Wednesdays for Water since then to make it more inclusive in terms of getting more ways of talking about water through Friday Waters and Monday Munching and Musing with Women for Water, besides organizing on-site water workshops, water walks and talks, seminars, special courses, and conference panels to continue the water conversation in various possible ways. At W4W, we believe that water conversation is the only way towards water conservation. My name is Mansee Bal Bhargava, and from the house of W4W, I welcome you all once again and also thank all our participants and previous speakers, nearly 600 of them, to help us reach around 400 sessions very soon. As we discuss today the nature-based solutions, we also talk about what it entails in terms of actions or to restore natural or modified ecosystems to rejuvenate the challenged landscapes or the waterscapes of the urban system, which means urban, rural, and peri-urban systems. Besides its inherent approach to utilize, protect, and manage a tempered ecology, the nature-based solutions have triggered making a new ecology to address challenges like climate change, food, water security, disaster reduction, and manifold. This nature-based solution is part of the ongoing series with a desire to capture the nuances of the approach to understand what exactly we have in store as far as the future ecology is concerned, if nature-based solution has something in it, and are we really going to have a new ecology through it? What is the business as usual going to bring up if we don't do nature-based solutions? And many more questions that arise with the kind of ecology we today live in the urban and rural system. To do the talking, we have Sandeep Khanwalkar, Sushil Sehgal, and Prasanna Khemadia. I will invite each speaker and before really giving their biographies. But first of all, deep gratitude to all three of them to agree to do this conversation and to register their, I will say, opinion and voice in this largest conversation that is occurring in the world. We will have our first speaker as Sandeep Khanwalkar, and before I invite him, Sandeep is a seasoned expert with 30 years of experience in natural resource management, watershed-based landscape planning, climate change, and nature-based solutions. The company specializes in scientific water conservation, sustainable agriculture, and ecological restoration with strong focus on capacity building, evaluation, and communication. We're talking about EcoSoul Enviro here. Sandeep has worked with many organizations, including US-funded Forest Plus projects, state government, and UN agencies, ICRISAT, just to name a few in the country as well as abroad. Currently, he is implementing innovative nature-based solutions for treating gray and black water, promoting natural farming systems, and leading efforts to revive traditional water bodies, landscape restoration, eco-centric development, and climate resilience. Thank you so much, Sandeep, for answering my query initially to invite you and also getting our other speakers on board. And the floor is yours. The screen is yours, rather. Thank you so much. Over to you.
Thank you, Mansee, and good evening, everyone. So I'll share my presentation. I'll give an overview about the nature-based solution and why it is needed in the current scenario. When we recently, yesterday's the mishap in the Uttarakhand, it tells us that we need to conserve our nature. And I'll share my presentation, which mostly focused on the nature-based solution. The topic, which is why we need to harness our nature, because you can see a picture which I'm showing you on the screen. There is a one nature-based solution to treat the sewage water, and another is you can see the habitat close to that stream, which is not planned actually. So we are encroaching the space of the natural streams, water bodies, and that's why we are facing lots of problems. And when we talk about the nature-based solution, so now we are the human development, so-called the infrastructural development, that is creating problem, and because of that we are facing lots of problems, especially the water pollution, which we see even in the rural areas also. Earlier the village water streams were more pure, but now you can't find them more pure water there, and that's why there is a need to go for the nature based solution, which offers us a very cost effective, scalable, inclusive approach, which address not only the climate problems but the conservation of biodiversity, which include both flora, fauna, and aquatic life, and also support our livelihood challenges which we are facing day by day. So when we talk about the nature-based solution across the globe, there are people adopted this solution to treat that. There are different models which talks say that there is a constructed wetland, there is a the tree-based solutions, there is a watershed approach. These are all nature-based solution. The UNEP report says that the 30% of the problem solution can become from the NBS. Most of the people don't know about that. They still go for the constructed solutions, like especially in the urban areas when we see about the sewage water problem. So that the STPs, they are all constructed. They are all energy required, but NBS can offer you a solution which with a less amount of investment, say $1, we can adopt it and we can get lots of benefit out of it. But we are mostly not adopting that. If we can get a 4 time the economic return, if we invest at like $1 we invest, we get $4 return. The government of India under the Campa fund also restoring 26 million hectares. That is also a kind of nature-based solution when we cover the degraded area under going with the plantation. And the urban NBS, mostly like in the cities where I live in Indore, the temperature is going up and the air is not good quality, and the temperature rise is between 2 to 8%. So these are certain challenges we are saying. Like an example, like in mangroves conservation in Odisha and Tamil Nadu, when we have the coastal line with the mangroves, that is again protecting us with the cyclone and all that. So this is an NBS, but we don't understand it. We not protect it. We are not going to conserve it, but we see it as this the area where we go for the tourism, but that is not for the tourism. We have to understand the how this NBS, which are given by the nature, are helping us to make our life more healthier and happier. NBS not only provide us solution to go for a restoration, even if the lake restoration or the degraded land restoration or restoration of our agriculture system, and it support us to go for a sustainable management of our systems. Conservation is part of that, and NBS contribute 37% of the mitigation needed as part of the Paris targets. It supports in achieving 12 out of 17 SDGs, and it support us in climate adaptation, community resilience, and we need to bring a balance, making more awareness about the nature-based solutions, engaging more people to understand how the nature can provide us a solution. We have to just understand it in rather disturbing the nature. We need to support that in conserving our natural systems. There are high returns when we go for the nature-based solution. I will talk about in the case study how it support us without taking more like operation cost. It help us in conserving our natural systems. The wetlands, when we are working in a wetland, that it stores 30% of our global soil carbon, because the silt is deposited there. There is aquatic life there. There is aquatic species are there. So there are many solutions which gives us, and returns are high, but risk is low because it is managed and controlled by the natural systems, where there is no need to go and monitor things every day. Like if any human-made solutions we introduce, we need a person to monitor, manage, and operate that system. But NBS, there is no need for the human intervention. It functions automatically because nature is supporting it. And interesting thing is it's a community-based solution. It's not top-down, because when you go for a nature-based solutions, so every site gives us a solution. It's not that if I go for an NBS and I'll go with a predefined solution and start working on that. No, it's not like that. You have to go there to understand it. And that's why the forest is one of the solution which gives the support for the livelihood. 275 million Indians depend on forest wherever they are living in the community forest rights. That also support tells us that the people who are dependent on forest, we need to give their rights, and it is a part of NBS, which is a larger system. We need to understand that how forests are one of the natural NBS which is given by the nature to us. And the governance, we can only do that, but rather controlling it, we have to live with that NBS. Watershed approach since 1994, before that adopted by various states, even in MP also under the Rajiv Gandhi Watershed Mission, in Maharashtra also. It says that it increases 30 to 50% of groundwater wherever the watershed approach are adopted. It's just simple that going with the nature, protecting our soil, protecting our the moisture and trees, it increases your groundwater. So these are the certain examples which are community managed, not by the outsider. In the urban areas, when we talk about the cities, where I also live, most of the people live in the cities, the tree cover is we are losing. Most of the greenery we see in the our balconies, we have the plants there. They do not support much to our environment, but the green area is reducing, and we need to protect our trees in the urban areas. We need to go for more green roofs and to reduce our energy requirement. So energy literacy is also important, that how much energy we are consuming and how we can reduce it. As per a study that of the UN, the urban wetlands can retain 3.6 million liters of stormwater. But most of the urban areas we are not able to manage because of the poor planning. So that's why we need to understand it, how the NBS can protect our urban landscapes. It increases the livability, reduces heat, and manage urban floodings. In Indore, we mostly face this urban flooding, but when they started managing the stormwater, the flooding issues gradually reducing. And what I feel that when I started working on NBS, that it's not a luxury, it's an urgency, it's a needed at the moment. And we need to accept that if we invest per year, the data is saying on the screen that 133 billion per year, it gives a return by 2050 that investment will go up to 536 billion per year. If we delay further, it will increase every year 2.7 trillion per year. This is a study by the World Bank. And important thing that it is a very fast implementation solution which I experienced. It is inclusive because it gives a space for the birds, it gives space for the trees, it gives space for the grasses, your wetland. It is inclusive, all of it. So and it all your traditional practices also part of the NBS, but we need to understand the importance of our traditional practices also. According to another study, it says that 3.6 billion hectares of water related ecosystem services worldwide can be improved if we adopt the NBS. Most of our rivers are converting into the small rivers, specifically into the severe flowing streams. And that is because we are not taking care of it. All our sewage, we are just connecting to our river system. And the NBS is the only solution that can treat this water without taking any extra cost. But we are not understanding, we are still going on the more energy required solution, that is the STP, especially in the urban area to treat the water. But NBS can reduce this cost, and we just need to ensure that there is no garbage is going in, and we'll get the clean water. And if we see the potential investment for the global perspective related to water and in the ecosystem services, in the Latin America and the Caribbean, it is roughly 41% investment potential is there. In sub-Saharan Africa, it's 30%. In Europe and Central Asia, 90%, other countries 10%. The total 100% the division, there is a potential that, and especially in the Latin and Caribbean Sea, there is a more pollution. So we need to see that how best we can adopt the NBS and make people more aware about it. Why NBS is needed in the current scenario when we see about the water pollution is going up. Earlier days, especially the open well, most of the people used to drink water directly, but now no one can dare and go and drink the open well water. Stream, forget about it. So these are the real scenario, and this is the real truth we all are facing, and we all are aware about that. The global investment trend, if we see about the water NBS, it's very interesting scenario. If you can see in the graph, the Asia, it's a bigger investment is going on. Europe, there is an investment of 10.8 billion. In US and Canada, 9.38 billion. Lowest is in the Australia, because they have more grassland, less population, and that's why there is a less the pollution in the water. So Asia, you can see the most investment going on, because the population density is also high, and there is the pollution is also high. So, and we need to understand that this trend is increasing, because the more urbanization is happening in India specifically, and the small towns are become bigger one, and bigger are becoming more bigger, and the dense population density is also increasing nowadays. So this is another challenge for us, and it's a need to adopt the nature-based solution. The UN report says that in Rajasthan, when they adopted the NBS, historically, if we see the Rajasthan has more nature-based solution adopted by the community, especially for the water conservation, and there are different types of the solutions are there. The step well, you can say, the khadi in nadi, and then kui, the taka, they all are the nature-based solutions, which and they save the 30% water, increase in 30% water, just adopting the nature-based solutions. When we talk about the wetlands, roughly 2.6% of wetlands on the earth can remove 20 to 60% of metal contaminations, which we hardly know that. I'll tell in the next slide how it is filtering, and it is filtering 80 to 90% of sediments of the coming from the runoff. And it also helps us in managing our green water practices, especially for the agriculture. And the crop yields can go up by 70 to 80%. And the green water, when we talk about the water which we are using for the agriculture, and that water is mostly getting contaminated. Mostly people are not aware. I myself saw that the farmers, they are using the contaminated water, and they don't understand that this water which is coming from it's mixed with the chemical treat or the waste of the industries, it is polluted, and they are using it, and because of that, not only the soil is getting contaminated, but the grain, that is also getting contaminated. Many stories you must have read in the newspaper, how our grain is getting contaminated, especially in recent news I was reading in the US, the meat, or the Kellogg's or the other companies, they are certified organic, has a contamination, which is alarming, that even after certifying that the product is organic, there is a contamination of certain chemicals, and it is very difficult to remove that, because the water is coming or the soil, they are totally contaminated. So this is an alarming situation for us. And when we talk about the soil, how the soil works actually, the physical filtration, chemical absorption, ion exchange, biological degradation, and natural attenuation, it is all done by the soil. First, it is the top level, when you have the green cover, so polluted water come from that, it goes to the physical filtration, sediment and particulate lighten, then chemical absorption and biological degradation, and that it cleans the water. So soil is the one of the first best sustainable filter media, But if there is more contamination will be there in the soil, it will also stop treating our water. So this is a challenge. So we have to understand it. And then next role, the plants plays the important role in treating the wastewater. Many of the people in the urban area specifically, they don't know the species which are coming up automatically in the streams. They are actually supporter for human aquatic life and other things, because they treat naturally all the contamination. And this is the process you can see in the picture, the phytofiltration process by the leaves, photodegradation by the branches, rhizodegradation by the stem, phytostabilization by the root, and phytochemicalization by taking the contamination in the water. So this is the way the plants, the aquatic plants, there are n number of plants. If we heavy metal, we say the water hyacinth, vetiver, willow. These are the species which absorb the heavy metals from the water. The nutrients like the nitrate and phosphate are thaya, cattle, duckweed. They absorb and convert into the different poly. So this is the way that the plants actually contribute in treating our water. The organic compounds like the pesticides, solvents, hydrocarbons, the sunflower, poplars, bulrush, which is a common grass. Bulrush is common grass found in the wetlands, and we see that it is a waste grass because it is not economically return giving to you, but it is giving an ecological return in treating our water. Pathogens like bacteria and viruses, the wetland vegetation and reeds, they treat this. Suspended solids like silt and algae, root mates, floating plants. There are many floating plants you can see in the water. They actually treat the water, but their process is slow. It's not like that you have the RO system that instantly you put the water and you clean water, you will get it. The birds, it's very interesting. When I was observing why birds are here, then I realized that it is a very good relationship with the plant, soil, and birds. They are in they are part of your solution. You cannot keep them out. So when there is a bird driven ecosystem services in the wetland, you might have seen that the egret you might have seen there. Then there is a water hen is there. Then there is a kingfisher, and there are many other birds who actually live there on the aquatic plants also. And there are many animals or the insects you find in the water. They actually eat them. There is a food there, so it's a food chain actually. So they all are part of that. So we need to observe that how many birds are there in your wetland. If the number is increasing, it means their NBS is automatically working very well. And the aquatic life is it's a total system. When I first learned about that, when I observed that, so there are many things. There's the algae, there's the plants, there's the predation, there are fish, there's a mussel, there's a worms, uh, there's a bacteria. They all are part of our aquatic systems. They treat our water. Wherever the water is little clean, you will see fish. They are the birds. It becomes the hatching site also, nesting site also. So it's all part of the ecosystem, and they are all the supporter of NBS. Microbial breakdown done by the bacteria, protozoa, and fungi, algae, and phytoplankton, and they automatically come. There is no need to plant some of these species. They automatically come in that. So if the water is dirty, they automatically come there. The only thing is that we need to protect them. There is no need to disturb it. In the name of the cleanliness drive, mostly we remove all these plants, which actually uptake so many pollutants from the water. And the way forward, when say there is a concept that we need water. Without water, we can't live. So there is mostly the water supplies there. We need water for agriculture. We need water for industry. We need water for city. So most of the recycled water can be go to the city and the industries, and with a good green water can be used for the agriculture purpose and the production purpose. And this is the water circular economy. We need a regenerative natural system, design out waste pollution, and deliver resilient and inclusive services. It's a larger issue which we need to understand, and most of the NBS work on the low energy requirements, because they take most of the energy from the sun, and naturally they start working on that. So it's a very sustainable model. And now I'll just share one example, two example about the NBS which we introduced in Mahu. This is the picture, first picture I show there. You can see different water bodies there. They are zigzag model. I'll just show the cursor. And here is the Gabion. You can see lots of garbage and dust. A dump is here, different channel. So these are all the filter media we put, and I'll show you the how this system works. This is 3 years back when I was working in designing this system, and all the trees were part of the solution. None of the tree we removed from this system. You can see the small, where my cursor is a small tree. We design an island here. There are trees. We design an island here. There are trees. So wherever the trees were, they're coming into the streams. We designed an island, so then they become a part of the solution, not a problem. This is the current scenario. This is the Google picture, I took it. This is now you can see the more greenery there. Earlier it was not much greener. Now the more trees are there, and the trees are the part of the system. So the point here that when we talk about the NBS, we have to be very much inclusive when we plan it. And it's not that there is a ready-made solution which is coming from outside. You go to the site, study the site, and then you decide the solution. So the complete solution is in 5 hectare area, and it treats, there are 3 streams sewage water coming here. These are 2 and 1 is here. 100% water is treated from this nala and to this nala, and there's a main nala is going here. 30% water is treated. So it's a very good solution, and it's still functioning very well. People go there, see there that okay, it is treating water. There is no further investment is needed. So my firm belief is that NBS is very good approach to treat your wastewater. Now I'll share, and this is a small video I show of the same. You can see the clean water and the dirty water. The clean water is coming up from the system after the treating, and we install that. You can clearly see the difference, and you can see the duckweed on the top, which treats the water at the end. And when we showed this solution, so people were amazed that it can treat the water. As per the NGT, we cannot completely divert the total water, but this shows that it works. These are some pictures of that when it was after the heavy rainfall of 2 mm in 1 hour, still that system was functioning very well. So if we go with the nature is with us to give us a solution. This is another solution I'll tell you in the village in Gujarat. It's called Palodar. There 3.2 lakhs per day wastewater was treated. You can see the picture here. This is the earlier situation when we before we started working, and now after the working and introducing the NBS, the 25 neighboring villages, when they heard about the NBS, they came just to see that how the NBS can treat their water, because earlier you can't stand. You can see the scenario, and this is the structure like this. I'm just quickly run through the slides. This is the main nala. We designed the different models here using the filter media, which is naturally available everywhere, like the stone metal, then wood, and then you can say the lime, sand, pebbles, everything which is locally available we use for the treatment of this the sewage water, and we use the plants also. This is the concept of the floating water, like river works. River treats its water automatically. The same concept we adopted here. We put some spikes there, so when the water flows, it treats the water. This is the gabion and different structures we introduced there, and you can see the different layers here. This is all the filter media we use to treat the water. Yeah. Now you can see this is the scenario of that site where we put the plants. Greenery is there. These plants are automatic named, some of them. And the small video I'll show you. You can see this is the water after the treatment from that stream. And the bird sound, they automatically came here. 1 year back, they were none of the birds were there. You can see the quality of water. There are 12 turtles also came there, many birds came there, migratory birds also started coming in a 1 year time period. So when you go with the nature joins you automatically. And in the picture you can see in the bottle, they just for the comparison, in the one bottle is the sewage water and the another bottle is the water after the first treatment. You can see the half circle, this is the sewage water, and here it is the first level treatment, and this is the final outcome which I showed you in the video. So NBS gives us ample opportunity to treat our water, make it for the reproductive uses, and make the environment more cleaner and livable. You can see here it's more beautiful now. The same villagers who were not visiting that site when even we were planning, they had a tea party there. So it shows that when we adopt the NBS, the site becomes beautiful. So I stop here, and we need to include people whenever we go for the NBS. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Sandeep, and what a comprehensive presentation. We will have to now tighten our presentation timing as well, but both the speakers will also have their due time as promised. And we will take the questions later on, and I'm requesting the participants who are here and on YouTube, I can see some of them. Please type your questions, and we will continue with the conversation and take the questions at the end. One important takeaway from your presentation and a further question in me, how far we can also go in designing the nature. And I invite Dr. Sushil Sehgal, an old friend from Cambridge, to also now take up the presentation from here on. Before I give him the space, a brief biography of Sushil. Dr. Sushil Sehgal is heading TNC, the Nature Conservation Center of it, the Indian non-profit subsidiary of the Nature Conservancy, of one of the largest conservation organization in the world. He has over 33 years of experience, and prior to joining the TNCC, he has worked in leadership positions with USAID, Forest Plus, Windrock International, India, International Institute of Environment and Development, and Society for Promotion of Wastelands Development. I'm just naming a few. With the paucity of time and the long years of experience these guys have, he's trained in forestry, environment, and development fields and holds 3 degrees from Cambridge, Oxford, and IIFM. He completed his PhD as a Gates Scholar from Cambridge. He also has received specialized training at the East-West Center of Honolulu and University of California, Berkeley. You heard Sandeep, Sushil, thank you so much. And it's really good to have a friend on board here. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Mansee. Good evening, everyone. I'll just take it forward from Sandeep, where Sandeep left. So he has given you a foundation of what are nature-based solutions and why they are important, and particularly with the examples that he has also given. I actually, Mansee mentioned about our organization a little bit. I'll just touch upon that. It basically has roots going back to the early 20th century, and it started like a group of applied ecologists who were not only wanted to limit only to theoretical work. So it's grown now, and we have presence in 80 plus countries now. So the idea is, and we are a science based organization. So here, in the interest of time and also to see how it fits with the broader sort of the approach for today's this session, I'm going to focus on one aspect that TNC has been sort of pioneering in the last few years. And in fact, in Sandeep's presentation, he also referred to our work two or three times when he said like 30% of the solution is lying with nature. That's like one of the papers that our scientists had put out, which is quoted quite a bit now. So anyway, I'll move forward. So I'll just start with this very interesting survey that TNC did. It was way back in 10 years back, but the things haven't changed much. But what are the main benefits? And there were two types of people, like normal, like people who were voters, and the opinion elites. They had some definition of those people. And if you see that the water, and related aspects featured quite a bit. in this. So it's quite interesting. I mean, this is what came up as what the and this survey was done in USA. It's not a not a global sort of survey, but it's a representative of what like people generally think when we talk about the nature-based solutions. Now, coming to natural climate solutions, which is a subset of nature-based solutions, I'll just give a broad overview of this sort of work. As you all know, that we have the Paris Agreement, and we have some commitments under the Paris Agreement that we need to keep our global warming, below well below 2 degrees Celsius, and if possible to limit it to 1.5 degrees Celsius. So this was the study that even Sandeep had referred that we had led, that the nature-based solutions, particularly of certain what we call pathways, could provide up to 1/3 of cost-effective mitigation that is needed to meet this goal by 2030. So this paper was published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. It generated a lot of interest, and these sort of particular strategies, and I will then go through the list quickly to say that what are these natural climate solutions, but they are then what we call them NCS in short. The definition is very simple. They natural climate solutions, they protect, manage, or restore natural and working systems. Working systems means like the forest which is logged, or plantations, or agriculture fields, in ways that avoid greenhouse gas emissions and or increase carbon sequestration across forest, wetland, grasslands, and agricultural lands. This is the sort of the definition of NCS. Now, this is that the data, which is in a simplified and a pictorial form I've given, which is the solution that is on the table that could be had from nature to meet like partly the Paris Agreement goals. So if we protect some natural ecosystems like forests, wetlands, grasslands, then we can have roughly about 4 gigatons of CO2 equivalent. And if we through the managed lands, we can have about 5. And through the restoration, again, it varies from forest, wetlands, and this is about 2 gigatons. So this is the broad, the solution that we are talking about. And the problem, obviously, in this case, the primary problem is climate, or the climate change, and the secondary problems are the other aspects of the loss of ecosystem services and the consequences that the people face. So one thing is that what is the relevance? Of course, it can help many countries meet their NDCs, or nationally determined contributions, but it's not a substitute. That's a very important thing to know. We are not arguing that this replaces the need for decarbonization, particularly in the energy sector and the fossil fuel sector. The other principle is that do no harm. Like we don't, whenever you're doing this, so when the study was done, so it was natural climate solutions, but it was constrained by food security. Like we don't want to compromise on food security, fiber security, things like cotton and jute, for example, clothing, and biodiversity. So we don't want, this.
Sushil, sorry to stop you in between, but are you moving the slide, or you are on the same slide? Just to get confirmation.
No,
Relevant slide.
I am moving the slide. It's not.
Are you on the relevant slide?
Yes. Can you see the slide moving?
Now it is moving, actually. Earlier it was not moving. Now
Okay.
we are on. Okay.
Yeah, maybe there was a lag.
Okay. Please go ahead. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. So basically, what I want to highlight is this. The word I put in bold is co-benefits, right? The word, because even though the primary goal of many of these pathways is climate mitigation, but by very nature, these provide a lot of co-benefits for water and sort of other ecosystem services. Other thing is, can you see the slide now? I've moved to the other one. Is it showing the diagram?
Yes, it moved. It moved.
Okay. All right.
Sorry.
Great.
Thank you.
So yeah. So basically, why we need to move now is because what like the science tells us that if we delay it, actually the resilience of many of these ecosystems will reduce due to the impacts of climate, and their ability to store and sequester carbon is likely to decline. And we, as the time passes, particularly if you go to beyond 2030 and towards 2050, the proportion that because of the overall emissions will increase, the proportion of the NCS, the natural climate solutions, the pathways that they can contribute will reduce. Now, broadly speaking, if I put it very, very simply, there are three categories: protection, improved management, and restoration. So these are the broad categories under which these solutions fall. Now, I'll not go through all of it. You can maybe see that in each of these different major ecosystems, we have these pathways, and each of that pathway kind of refers to one particular solution. So I'll just give some illustrative ones. For example, avoided forest conversion. That's the most immediate one. Like if you avoid forest conversion and prevent it from being converted to agriculture or other non-forest use, you immediately not only save a lot of emissions, but you also save a lot of other ecosystem services. Similarly, if you go down, you can say forest fire management. So this is also one of the solutions that through this pathway we can implement. So this is kind of the list. And for each of these, you can there is now enough data to actually calculate how much of the benefit we can get. Now coming to some of the freshwater pathways, again broadly divided into coastal and freshwater. And you can see that we can obviously prevent the degradation of the existing sort of ecosystems, including mangroves, salt marshes, and seagrass beds. And in fact, there's quite a bit of work TNC is doing on many of these. And then similarly, freshwater on wetlands, and especially saving the peatlands from peat fires, drainage, dredging, and eutrophication. Again, the other two pathways are related to their restoration of either the coastal or the freshwater ecosystems. Similarly, the grasslands, broadly defined, they could be, again, there's a lot of conversion of grassland that's happening. In fact, in India, it's one of the most threatened ecosystems. So if we are able to avoid some of the grasslands from being converted or able to restore some of the grasslands back. So these are some of the pathways that give us those benefits. And the list in agriculture actually is quite long. You can see that there are at least 11 pathways that are listed here. So one and the most simplest and the most intuitive one is the trees in agricultural lands, which we normally call here agroforestry. And there are a lot of others. And you can see that most of these not only have climate benefits, but also have other co-benefits, particularly related to water and other ecosystem services. Now, what is the hierarchy? How do we go about it? Like, one is of course, the potential, particularly in terms of the carbon or CO2 equivalent. But generally, what we suggest, the hierarchy is this way. The first, we focus on what is already there and can be protected. As I said, the moment we protect a hectare of forest from degradation, you have immediately, made an impact, and it's generally most cost effective. And so this is the highest form of, I would say, the pathways or the solutions. And this has about, like, as I said, like about 4 gigatons of CO2 equivalent potential by 2030. Second is management. Of course, the lands that are already, without changing any land use, you can do better management. You can, some of the pathways I had shown that you can increase the rotation in forestry crops, or reduce impact logging, and so on. And finally, we have restoration, where the ecosystem is degraded. Of course, it's a more costly and slower process, but in many cases, we don't have any option, and restoration offers us many opportunities for not only climate mitigation, but also a lot of corresponding or the ecosystem services that they come back. So how do we prioritize these pathways if we have to choose? Obviously, first is the mitigation potential. Again, it can be seen as the biophysical, what is the total potential, and cost related, like in terms of the cost, what it costs to do that. So the results are somewhat different. But the most important is, of course, the co-benefits. It's not only one thing that we are looking for from all of these sort of ecosystems, what are the co-benefits, and if we can, there are techniques of valuing those. And once we have those co-benefits, we can say that which is the most beneficial pathway in our context. And obviously, the last one is the community impacts that we need to keep in mind. Here is that, again, for the protect pathways and the manage and restore pathways, the main thing is that there are fluxes which are generally due to the actions that we are taking in protection. Generally, we are preventing the emissions. In manage, it is both prevention as well as sequestration. In restore, it is mainly sequestration. But we do need to be careful. I'll give an example of what is called the albedo effect, because we do a lot of work in forestry. So what happens is that if the ground has more higher reflective index, and if you put a green tree cover, so there is actually some reduced reflection because of that itself. So you have to compensate for that. So as we go deeper, I think some of the things get a little complex. Anyway, this is my last slide. So we have developed, I just want to share a couple of things. We have developed a tool called NatureBase. So if you want to see a potential for any site anywhere in the world for many of these pathways, what I had shown, you can go to that tool and actually draw your polygon or go to a particular district or a particular site and just calculate that. And the other one I would just refer is what we've done, what Niti Aayog has done, where we also contributed, which is there will be an ad, I guess, I think. I don't know. Can you see this one? Okay.
Yeah, please share with the sound, okay? So on the right side, you will have share with sound.
Where is that one? Are you getting sound?
No, we are not hearing, and also the video is not moving. So
okay. Maybe
I will try to
maybe
do
should
that.
we skip it? Can you see it at least? Can you see the still screen?
No, no, we don't see it. But
you don't see the
I'm
screen
also
itself?
trying from my end.
Yeah, just show the screen. It's a 2-minute video, but like, see if you can do it. I'm not, I'll just stop
Yeah,
here. Then.
I have it on my screen. If you don't mind, I can show it.
Yeah. It's a 2-minute. So
Okay,
I'll just say while you are setting it up, the other one is the Grow portal. I'll just tell you the Niti Aayog with NRSC, and we also contributed, has come up with for agroforestry potential in India. We can go anywhere in India, and using that portal, which is the Grow portal on the Bhuvan site, you can see what is the agroforestry potential in any area. We are using it to plan our project in some areas. It's a very interesting.
Do you see it? Shall I play now?
Please do. Thanks.
Yeah.
And otherwise, I'm done. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah. Now we'll play it. So what should I do now? How should I play it?
Just play the 2-minute video. That's it. Sound I can't hear.
Okay. Wait. I have actually not the sound activated. Just wait. Yeah. Do you hear it?
No, I don't hear it.
Do you hear it? Is the sound not audible?
Not to me, I think.
Okay, just wait. I will reshare. No worries. Because I'm hearing it. Just wait. No problem. Okay. I will reshare, no problem. Okay, I also forgot to actually share with sound. I'm so sorry. Okay.
NatureBase helps decision makers put natural climate solutions into action by showing where and which NCS activities can have the highest climate impact. Start by using the map controls. Zoom and click and drag the map to find an area to analyze. You can also search for any location in the world. Clicking on a boundary will highlight it on the map and automatically update the analysis panel, which, by default, shows the total amount of carbon that could be sequestered across grasslands, agricultural lands, wetlands, and forests. NatureBase gives you a breakdown of the carbon mitigation opportunity within the selected area by individual pathways. Select an option from the drop-down to see more details about a specific pathway. The analysis panel provides detailed information about the carbon mitigation opportunity. the estimated co-benefits available for a specific pathway, any policies that may be in place, and any case studies that might be related to your selection. By adding multiple areas to your workspace, you can quickly reference and compare them. In addition to selecting areas on the map, you can also draw custom boundaries to analyze areas that aren't predefined by existing jurisdictions. You can upload custom shape files for geographies that you may already be working with. You can even select from thousands of global watershed boundaries to get on-demand analyses that you can add to your decision-making process. By creating a free NatureBase account, you can easily save the areas in your workspace so that you can return to your project at a later time. Links to download data and additional resources are available in the top navigation bar. Help information is also readily available, including detailed steps for how to use each feature within the platform.
Thank you.
Sorry. Thank you so much, Sushil. Thanks for the wonderful presentation. And just to get a quick understanding of the MAU project, if we put all the details of the MAU, can we put all the details of the MAU project into this domain, or it is controlled, or it is open access?
No, you can put, and I put like the other one is the Grow portal, which I didn't show. I mean, that's NRSC, our Indian one. So NatureBase uses global data sets.
Okay.
That's the only difference. The analysis, like what we are trying to do now is to see whether we can adapt it with more Indian data sets. That's a global.
Okay.
They use the global data set layers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the analysis will be like that. Yeah. But you can try. It's very interesting. Yeah.
Yes, so I mean, it will be good for a classroom exercise now. I have one more exercise. Thank you so much, Sushil. We'll come back to you, but we'll quickly take our third speaker today, and Prasanna Khemaria. Thank you, Prasanna. But before I hand it over to you, a quick biography. Prasanna Khemaria is the CEO of, I hope I am pronouncing your surname correctly. Pardon me if I am not.
My name is Prasanna. Not
Okay.
Prasanna, but yes.
Okay. He is the CEO of Series. Prasanna works on aquaculture, positive water balance, soil and water conservation, land restoration, and integrated natural resource management. With 34 years of experience in designing large-scale development projects and in implementing rural development on farm, rural livelihoods-related projects, he has worked in different roles across the country. Just to name a few here today, one which is quite close to my heart, to be honest, being born and brought up in Chhattisgarh, with the MP Fisheries Development Corporation overseeing and implementing various projects of livelihood, poverty alleviation, fisheries and aquaculture in tribal areas of Chhattisgarh, Bhoj Wetland Project in Bhopal, Department of International Development, the JICA, the Japanese International Cooperation Agency, OECF, Overseas Economic Cooperation Fund Japan, and India's Manrega initiatives. Over the years, he has developed deep expertise in policy advocacy, rural livelihoods management, environment, climate change, positive water balance, and regenerative agriculture. Thank you so much, Prasanna, and over to you. You have your due time for presentation, and I look forward to learning from you.
Yeah, thank you, Mansee, and good evening to everyone. Sandeep and Sushil have, thanks to them, they have made my job much easier. So I will just share my screen. Is it visible?
It's still coming. Yeah. Yes.
Yes, it's visible. Go ahead.
Okay. So if we go by Indian philosophy, we have 5 elements. If you call it Hindi, Agni, Vayu, Prithvi, Jal, and Akash. So it's earth, fire, water, air, and ether, space. So if we go by the Indus Valley civilization, that time Mother Goddess was worshipped as a protector of life and as a fertility goddess. Again, we shift from industrial civilization to Ashoka time. So Ashoka was known for roadside plantation of many trees, and that too native species, Indian native species trees. So what I'm trying to say, there was a community wisdom about it. There was a ancient wisdom about it, and somehow we lost it. I will give you an example. During the no moon days, what we call Amavasya, there was a tradition in the Indian farming system, in the rural system, that no farming work will be done, no farmer will go on the field. And that day was used as Sunday, what we did today, Sunday. So that Amavasya day was used to repair, restore the traditional water bodies, natural property resources, common property resources for plantation, everything. So there was a community wisdom about it, there was knowledge about it, but somehow over the period of years, we lost it somewhere, or we ignored these community wisdom. And what does it result to? So it resulted in what the common problem which we all know about: loss in biodiversity, poor access to drinking water, water scarcity for irrigation, crop losses, large scale migration, high input cost. And there is an old saying, often we fail to see what lies right before our eyes. So we were grappling with this problem, Bundelkhand, working there for 10, 15 years. And then we decided with a like-minded NGOs, okay, let's do something about what lies before our eyes. And they were traditional tanks built right from 700 AD to 1200 AD. And they were in dire state of neglect. So we thought, let's work on it. And it's a very simple idea, very, very, very simple idea. And these tanks, I'm an engineer, but during that time, if you think about 800 AD and 1000 AD, without any sophisticated equipment, these are the hydrological best design which you can come across. So that community wisdom was there. If you read the book by Anupam Mishra, Aaj Bhi Khade Hain Talab, or ponds are still relevant today, you will come to know about what legacy, what wisdom we had. So we started with a simple idea about restoration of traditional water body with like-minded partner. And idea is very simple. We will go for desilting of these tanks, and the silt which is there, which is highly fertile, will be carted away by the farmers with the mandate that the silt will be applied only on their agriculture field and not at anywhere else place. Like it will not be used for a dumping ground or making roads or anything. It has to be carted away by the farmer all by themselves, and it will be applied into their field. And the results were tremendous. Their productivity got increased since it was very rich, fertile soil. So what we call about soil health. So when soil health is improved, good soil quality used, the water retention capacity also increases. So less irrigation was required on these fields. Production increased. Use of synthetic fertilizer also reduced. So then we thought, okay, why not work on the other side of it, upstream and downstream side, what we call first stream and second stream, first order and second order streams, what we call Nala. Their carrying capacity was also reduced. So we started working on these initial streams, first order and second order. Here in photographs, you can see about a particular tank before the intervention and after the intervention. So we started working on first order and second order streams, what we call Doha. It was a very simple thing, deepening and widening of these nalas, so that not only they can carry more water, but they can stop flooding also. There are now two kind of flooding. Sandeep referred about fluvial flooding, which is a very organized concept, but here it's a fluvial funding. Those which come through the natural rainfall. So it not only increase the capacity of those streams, but also help in recharging the water of near wells and other, even groundwater was also increased. So then we thought it's not going to work. We are just a piecemeal approach. A comprehensive approach is required. So then we focused our thought on these issues, soil and water conservation. What we realized by using of the silt, which are very fertile, rains are not there. Sometimes you may have a dry spell for 1 or 2 or 3 years, like we have seen in Marathwada, but the third or fourth year you will have abundance rainfall. But a topsoil last will take millions of years to form a new soil. So we thought it's very much important to work on not only on water conservation, but also soil conservation and arresting of soil erosion and improving the soil fertility. Water security is also there. Water is, earlier we used to think water is infinite, but water is finite. That we have all come to realize. So how do we use water more efficiently? So that also, we started working on it, water security, not only creating water potential, but also creating a community, cadre of community people who can take this forward from here. And it will not be that our engineering gyan, that we are well educated, so we know all. No. It was their wisdom and they have to take it forward. So their knowledge sharing other things, and then better access in drinking water, because women and girl child, they suffer the most when it comes to fetching water for their domestic use. So if the wells are recharged, water is available, so it will also help them in getting access to clean drinking water. And then biodiversity, we also thought if we do not work on biodiversity, then nothing is going to work alongside. So with this simple idea, we started to work on comprehensive approach. You can see some of the photographs. I will not take long. These photographs are self-explanatory. You can see in this area treatment where the bunds are there. So it not only helps in arresting the soil erosion, but also arresting retaining the soil moisture also. You can see the tank restored. Then we also started working on defunct stop dams, which were earlier constructed by any agency but not were in use. So we mobilized community, told them about the importance of it, and then we started working on it with a very little amount of money, most of the contribution coming from the community. And you can see this Doha, what we call working on first and second order streams, and you can see the crops, you can see the field building, you can see the water in the well, it has been recharged. So these were the effect which we have been able to see. And again, some of the impacts are there. When the silt applied, production got increased, groundwater also got increased, and we thought, let's not work in isolation. Government convergence is very much required. So we work with government, local administration, and also we work with Niti Aayog also. So in a few of the states like MP, UP, and Rajasthan, so we started working on it, on this concept also. And since it was a community owned project, so we thought local community participation is very much important. Without so it was not giving them a gyan from which Sandeep shared in his slide about top-down approach, but it was bottom-up approach. So it was demystifying their own wisdom to our knowledge. What is that community wisdom is all about, and how do we demystify it? How do we make it simple for them to understand about what this water is all about, how it can be managed? And there were earlier systems. When we talked to elders, they told them, okay, our forefather used to be member of a water management committee. If you look at Chanakya Arthashastra, you will find a very good revenue system, very good management system of these water bodies also. So their involvement was very much required. So we just revived those knowledge and wisdom. We spoke with them, we sat with them, mostly the women farmers, because they are the one who are the who do not come on the forefront, but they are the one who do the entire job. And Drudge is also there. So, and they understand about the planning, and they understand about the importance of water, because they are the one who manages the household. So very simple games. What will happen if rainfall is less? How do you diversify your crop? If you're able to get water for your winter crops, so why don't you go for only wheat? Can you diversify into some portion to wheat, some portion to mustard, which require less amount of water? Or even if you're going for wheat, can you go for a variety which will require, 4 irrigation instead of 5 irrigation? So can you go for those varieties? So little bit diversification, talking on it and working on this water budgeting and everything. So then we, from collective, we moved towards individual system. So promoting regenerative agriculture, natural farming practices. We also went for multi-layer farming. So that the idea is to diversify the basket, increase the livelihood basket. So if one thing fails, looking at the climate and weather changes, so one thing fails, another thing will work. So if normal crops fails, they can go for vegetable farming. If it fails, they can go for orchard. They can get some income from orchard. And this multi-layer farming, a small piece of land is used where we go for 3-tier farming, all using natural resources, natural materials, without using any chemical and pesticide. It's about below the ground where we go for tuber crops. It's above the ground where we go for leafy vegetables, and then we go for the climbers. So they get the 3 type of crops, and every day, something. So the cash register keeps on ringing, and mostly it's sold in the local market. So women, they get the cash in their hands. So their what you say, their access and right over the money goes there. If it's grain, the men, they go to mandis and sell it off. But when it comes to vegetables, it's the women those who control and have access over the money. Now, when we started going for regenerative agriculture, natural farming, so bioresource centers are very much required. Bioresource inputs are very much required. So that we also established, developed upon these concepts, setting up demonstration, acting as a training center so that other farmers can learn and get the bio inputs from these centers. These are run on an entrepreneurship model. So there is no funding. People come and buy it, pay for the bioresources because it's not available in the market. Even if they are available in the market, the cost is very high. It's not affordable to them. So, and local seed bank, I mean, we also promoted local variety, how to conserve it, how to find it, retain it, so that heirloom seeds are available, which are better suited for the local climate and local conditions. Then we also thought of, I earlier shared about working on biodiversity. So we used to sit with the elders of the village and ask simple questions. What were the trees which you used to see when you were as a child and now you don't see? So then it told us that Mahua was there, Amla, Neem, whatever. So all those native trees, we then thought of identifying some common lands, temple land, school lands, where lots of lands are available. And then we started going for what we call sacred forest, community forest, the Tapovan, which is owned by them. And here also you can see the picture, 3-year, the results are there. Survival rate is 95%, and as Sandeep talked about in his presentation about development of flora and fauna, so you see lots of bird variety, pollination, honeybees, butterflies, birds. So it's really changed the entire landscape, microclimate. It has been changed. So these things are from a practitioner point of view, and we are still learning and evolving right through it. And what I mean to say is we are building the community resilience toward these shocks. These shocks are earlier there, but and our ancestors knew about it. If you go by it, if you read a very beautiful book, Collapse by J. Diamond. So whatever we talk about today, the loss of civilization, they are also there. These things are already listed there. Water, deforestation, overhunting, overfishing, soil loss, soil fertility loss, invasion of outside species, native species. All these things are there. But somehow the community wisdom which we lost, so we are just reviving it, not reinventing the wheel, but going back to the nature. So I will stop my presentation here.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Prasanna, for this comprehensive and sweet and short presentation, I must say, but also touching upon some of the everyday issues that you talked about. And I'm very selfish in just picking up one of them as female farmers, and it really gives very nice, words to my ears. But importantly, a comprehensive approach, taking the villagers on board, asking about the native trees. These are some things which, as a lay person like me or common citizens who are on here, they will understand what is exactly there and all. So let me just ask few questions before taking more questions. But importantly, very simple question which I have, which is philosophical and also fundamental for nature-based solution projects. We are talking about a degraded landscape or ecology, for example. That's where I'm seeing that we have to bring something more into the system and repair it, restore it. And I like the 4 steps which was already talked about. Are we talking about a new kind of landscape? Because also the title of today's discussion is that we are talking about securing future. So I'm sure there is some kind of landscape or ecology in mind, which we want to achieve by doing nature-based solution. It's just like if I want to eat biryani today, I would already know what taste I would like to have, and accordingly I'll put the ingredients. I'm just keep making it simple for common person because it's also an educational material that we produce. So is there a kind of end goal what we want to achieve? Because what I learned from Prasanna, that go back to nature, what I learned from Sushil, very important from your presentation, and pardon me if I'm just summarizing with this question. pardon me if I didn't understand it fully, but just to give it briefly, important is not only the scholarship, but also keeping an overview and keeping an account of what is we are achieving, where do we stand today, and what is its contribution in the larger picture, because that's what very important, which you raised from, you came from climate change to the smallest unit of looking at a piece, a land parcel or a place. So that gives a very good overview. And then coming to Sandeep's presentation, where he gives the philosophical, the definitional aspects of it, and also showcasing through life case studies, like how a degraded landscape, if we call it degraded, can be really worked through with rejuvenating not only water, but forest, agriculture, trees, keeping them out, really working them out through the system. Now, what is the end landscape we want to achieve at a place? Should it be driven by the climate? So that's a question to Sushil. If we um, if we achieve everywhere degraded, and you mentioned actually in your presentation that we have to reduce this, and if these are some possible solutions, not the only solutions, because Sponge City is the new mantra going all over. We are in the fever of Sponge City, and before that came Miyawaki Forest, and all these are now going on. Which is the security which we are seeking for future? I would like to actually start with Sushil, because you take the larger picture of climate change and planet, and then Sandeep and Prasanna.
Okay, yeah, thanks, Mansi. Basically, like, when we say it's a solution, of course, we are trying to address some problem, right? So what I took was a subset of a problem, like, okay, is nature itself, which has so many co-benefits of,
Yes,
and,
it was very good
yeah, so
presented.
nature itself can be part of the solution. Which will
Yeah.
have so many other benefits. Now that's like it depends on the framing of the problem, because a lot of things are interrelated. Even if you're trying to focus on water, that will have impact on fauna, on
Yes,
other aspects,
absolutely.
soil
The
and
way
so on, right?
Sandeep also showed
Yeah.
in, yeah.
Now, I want to pick up on your other aspect of like what you mentioned. In fact, I'm a little bit involved with this in Chhattisgarh, the state you mentioned, because Chhattisgarh is trying to come up with an eco-restoration policy, and I'm a member of
Yes.
the committee. So the idea is that always it is not possible to go back to, a time in the past and how it was. Okay.
Yeah. So
So
what is nature for us
yeah.
now is also a philosophical question.
Yeah, so no, when we talk about restoration particularly, it's not always possible to go to like so there was let's say a primary forest which was logged maybe 100 years back. So it's always neither practical nor feasible. We don't even sometimes know what was there in the past, right? It's not like so. The essential aspect is that how many of the ecosystem functions can be restored, and the
Oh,
integrity of that
yes.
ecosystem comes in as it starts as a functioning sort of ecosystem. And that's that sort of, I would say, is a more practical sort of approach to eco restoration. But what I want to point out is that there is a misconception often that in particularly in among many of the, including among some senior bureaucrats and all, that always it is tree planting equals
Yes.
ecology.
Yes. I mean, I
So
have seen this problem. All green is not good. That's my
yeah,
line.
so tree planting is good, but tree planting in, let's say, which was naturally a grassland, is not a good thing, because you're
No.
actually destroying a grassland, right?
Yeah.
So that aspect has to be kept in mind, and this is the concept of eco restoration that is coming. In fact,
Very
there's
good example.
yeah, and just to add just one last bit
Like
to this.
greening the desert. I mean, this is a kind of something which,
Yeah, I mean,
do you take
see,
it?
addressing a degraded ecosystem is one thing, but applying our own idea of what is degraded and not degraded. I mean, desert by itself is an ecosystem, right? There are
Yes.
certain creatures, fauna, flora that is adapted to that ecosystem.
Yes.
So that aspect has to be kept in mind. And in fact, in There was a Supreme Court task force that has actually said the same thing, like particularly in the context of Campa that Sandeep had
Yes.
mentioned, that you should not always consider, planting trees as a restoration. There could be other ways. Stop there.
Okay, Sandeep? Yes. So where do we want to reach actually with nature-based solutions? And I will add what Sushil just said to it. Are we always going to be in that cure approach? Because to me, nature-based solution is of course a cure approach. And but when I hear projects from you and Prasanna, and also in the past 4 sessions we had, keep making people part of the game is a kind of a preventive approach also when they are getting there. Where do we want to reach with a nature-based solution? Can we stop polluting? Because if water has to be managed, we can stop polluting instead of start treating. And if we can stop deforesting instead of doing afforestation. What's your take on this? Because you have been working all over and with so many kinds of stakeholders. What is the idea of nature discussed among the stakeholders?
It's a very big question, Mansi, to answer. But what is my takeaway that when I started learning, we work in Budelkhand, what Prasanna was also talking. So bringing back the situation of the water bodies, or you can say the water, the resources we have. So and their functionality. If we create obstacle I'll use the pollutant as an obstacle for the natural system. So how many pollutants we are introducing in the natural system, so it is getting degraded. So whether you are going for the chemical based farming system, or you are going monoculture, or you are only having like water bodies everywhere, water is also not a solution, or you are changing the desert ecosystem like the the parks. That is another disaster we are doing in the desert. So it is changing its ecology. I've been there and saw its impact also. So my takeaway is that first we need to understand how nature functions. So it can't function the way we want. It has its own way of functioning. So we need to increase more awareness about the people that it can work. You have to be patient. Because when I was doing a study in Gujarat, when we were designing the model, I showed there, so visited 5 villages, and I saw in one village that NBS was functioning very well naturally. So I explained that, see, your water is being treated by nature. They said, where? I showed them in 50 meters of distance, the water was clean just because of the species were there, fauna, flora there. So people don't understand actually NBS, what is NBS actually. So they only see the very immediate solution, which is you start a button and functioning like your RO system. It's not like that. So you have to first understand it and how it can reduce your energy
We don't
conservation.
have time. That's the thing. People, when we are doing projects, people think there's no time. आज बटन दबाया, कल पेड़ लग जाना चाहिए, और परसों मछलियां डांस
Same
करनी
thing.
चाहिए, और चिड़िया
Definitely.
आनी चाहिए.
And people don't have, like in Mahu, when I was showing that the 4 years changes in that, लोग कहते वो तो बहुत कीचड़ हो गया वहां पे, तो वहाँ ग्रीनरी होना चाहिए था. मैंने कहा पानी साफ हो रहा है. बोला पानी तो साफ हो रहा है. So that is was the purpose, that what is being treated, and it's the clean water is there, because when the duckweed comes, it means the water pollution is almost gone. That's the biggest indicator. So that duckweed was there. I showed in the small clip also. The duckweed was also there. So my takeaway is that we need to make people more aware about that. There is a NBS. What Sushil was also talking about, that nature-based systems.
Sorry. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, nature-based systems are functioning very well. If you allow them to work, you are not needed to monitor. Let it work.
Let nature do its work.
So you just
I think
provide the space. That's what
I think Sushil will like to jump in here, because we already have two schools of thought when we talk about nature and conservation, and especially when you are from the TNC, the design with nature of Ian Makhar. I mean, it becomes kind of a foundational scholarship to start with. Keeping people away is one way, and then making people part of it is another way.
Yeah.
Now,
So-
maybe a good idea to have some indicators for people to know, like there are some school programs. We had wonderful program from Sri Aurobindo Society, this session where they have actually made some indicators for students to go and check how is the health of the water, health of the soil, health of the, so maybe because otherwise for that the idea of a good nature unfortunately is of a park, of an urban park, you know. So I just want to come to Prasanna because he had a very interesting point when he asked people, you know, which were the trees which were growing, probably seniors. So what is their idea of nature? What is your idea of nature? Where are we taking our society through nature-based solutions? It's the same question. I'm just putting it in different way. Prasanna. And probably in the rural landscape.
Yeah, if you talk about rural landscape, so women, they are the worst sufferer of these climate shocks.
Because we are grabbing their land, water, air, everything.
Yeah, and because of the pre-existing inequality, limited access to resources, traditional gender roles, but at the same time, they also understand the importance of nature. I mean, so I mean, mitigation and adaptation are very high level of talks. So how do we build the resilience?
That's the thing.
Yeah, so how do we build the resilience to face these kind of climate shocks? And they are the real, what you say, harbinger of hopes for us, and we are working with them. There was a term called hydrological patriarchy, when women were not allowed, I mean, not used to take civil engineering course. And even in Netherlands also or other places, women engineers, civil engineers are not allowed to, I mean, design big dams. So it goes down.
Females would not like to design dams. That's another question.
Yeah, they were not allowed. I mean,
they would not like also. That's the point.
And if you look at the word civil engineering, ideally it should have been named as structural engineering. But civil means civilians.
Yes.
We the people. I mean, like like the term army men used, civilians, and we are from the defense. So the civil engineering talks about the people. I mean, it's engineering of people. It's our engineering. So how do we combine these? I mean, and we know I talked about.
I really like the way you started from the word Bhagavan. You know, the five letters of.
Yeah, the five elements. Yes, Prithvi, Jal, Agni, Akash. These are the five elements, and also look at the industry civilization. And I would request your student to read a book called Collapse by J. Diamond. I mean, all we think we talk about it, most of the civilizations were collapsed because of these issues which we are talking about today. Barring and some other country where military and political things happen, civilization. Otherwise, most of the civilizations were vanished because of these things. Copper was discovered in industrial civilization, and that was the end thing. And copper required high melting points, and to get the copper, you need to cut forest. So they started cutting down forest to get copper.
Now we are cutting for coal and for everything.
So when the deforestation was done, so heavy floods, soil erosion, everything which we talk about today, the entire civilization was lost. A very wonderful urban civilization with lots of drainage system. We read about it today. So our focus is working with women. They understand the importance of this, and they are the one who suffer more. So our idea is to build the resilience towards these climate shocks and work towards it.
So we will continue actually this conversation, because if this conversation goes beyond 4 minutes from here on, my researchers will not allow me to edit because they do it. We are running quite late in the session today, but this conversation must continue because it's a series. And I have a small question and request for all of you to ponder and think about, because these nature-based solutions we are talking about, first of all, in urban areas, where is nature? What do I understand nature? Where is the land to do nature-based solution? The way Sandeep showed in Mau and Prasanna showed in the rural areas. If we really want to restore the health of urban areas with the 4 benchmarks that Sushil also presented, Sandeep also presented, Sushil called it pathways, and I really liked it. But if I have to percolate the pathways, where are the lands to do that? I mean, all over the world now we are seeing that de-damming has come in. Sponge City is talking about reclaiming land for water. And in India, we are still going on with riverfront development, which is definitely not a nature-based solution. But just to let all our audience and participants know, soon we are starting a riverfront series to have this diagnosis, that's just the way we are diagnosing nature-based solutions. Because for me, the fundamental question still remains, what is that nature we want to have after what we have done today? And also, is it going to be a new landscape which we are very sure about? As rightly pointed out by Sushil, that we may not restore the old as it is, but there will be some restoration. So it's like a cancer patient we all are sitting on, which is planet Mother Earth, how far we can treat her, what kind of chemotherapy we are talking about. But we have to be optimistic. We have to be going further with this. Before I close the session, as I said, it is quite delayed now, but I would like to announce the next Wednesdays for Water session. We go straight to the rural areas, which is on August 13, and we talk about participatory watershed management and strategy for sustainable development. And we again start from the SDG goal to how it percolates to the rural areas. On Independence Day, which is a Friday Waters, we have a meet a maestro, and we have actually Manu Bhatnagar to talk about Delhi's waterscapes, past, present, and future, to take us where Delhi goes, does India goes there in that direction, which I personally would not like to, looking at the water situation of Delhi. But thank you so much, Sandeep, Sushil, and Prasanna for the wonderful presentation, and also giving more insights on nature-based solutions, but actually more questions as well. We learned a lot today, but at the same time, we also carry more, I will say, myths, and also some of the misconceptions are cleared today, but we will still have more curiosity to learn more about nature-based solutions. Do keep joining us and stay tuned with W4W's Wednesdays for Water, Friday Waters, and Monday Munching and Musing with Women for Water. And in here, we sign off for today. Thank you so much, all of you. Please take care and see you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.